guys, I am live now. So I was a minute late. Sorry about that. I'm going to open a soda. There's nothing here at the church to drink. So I have to drink my husband's soda. So good to see you guys. I just sent the text message. Today's been really, really crazy and busy. We had people over to our house. I think everyone just left about 45 minutes ago, an hour ago. So everyone started coming over at 11. We had a Labor Day picnic. Really good time, but obviously very busy. So this is going to be a wing it type of show tonight. Hello, Joyce. So bear with me. Hello, Celine. We're going to wing it. And I thought of a good idea. I just had a bunch of ideas running through my head because Karen is still battling a virus. And so hopefully by next week, she should be over that. So next week is going to be an awesome show. Look forward to that. She has so graciously offered 2 scholarships to her Robinson curriculum for littles course. And if you don't have any Robinson, if you don't have any littles, then she is offering a scholarship to her beta course that she's doing right now, which I'm about halfway through phase 1 of that. And it is incredible. She is probably the most encouraging person in my life right now. She helps me through the hard days and tells me I can do it and points out my strengths and tells me, why do you feel stressed out in this area? What can you do to fix it? She's great. So she will be a huge encouragement next week. We're going to talk a lot about the mental aspect of homeschooling, which I wish someone would have done that with me when I first started homeschooling, and it would have saved a lot of heartache over the years. I was thrown into it 9 years ago, and it was quite overwhelming and quite stressful. So, which a lot of parents are probably feeling this year in 2020. So if you have just jumped into homeschooling, this will be a great show for you so that you can kind of get your mindset correct from the very, very beginning. And it's going to be great next week. So we're going to have lots of giveaways. I'm giving away an Amazon gift card. She's giving away 2 scholarships to her course. We're going to be talking a lot about the Robinson curriculum, which I have switched a couple of my kids over to this year. And so far, we're only a weekend, but so far I like it. It's going great. So, hey, Morgan, I just saw you. Morgan was just at our picnic. Ashley and Dana, Dorothy. Let me see if I'm missing Sheila. Oh, yeah, this is a new building. This is the back of my husband's much bigger office, as you can tell. Much, much, much bigger office. And see, we even have more room over there. Look how big it is. So yeah, it's a much bigger office. Now I can get that fixed right. Oh, now it's sliding back. Sorry, guys. But he is, I had to get this light set up too because it was so very dark in here. So that's still not the greatest angle. Bear with me. I showed you guys the office and now it's all messed up. All right, that'll have to do. So the curriculum is called Robinson Curriculum. And then she will be giving away her RC course for littles, which is basically videos kind of walking you through it all, kind of explaining it all, different things like that. So yeah, it's going to be really good. So do I do these videos at the church? Yes. No, I don't live stream from my home. Sometimes I have. If you look at past videos, I have live streamed at home, but we live in a really, really small house and the Mac is in the main part of the house. And so it's really tough with all the kids home at night. You know, I have to tell them to be quiet for an hour. It's just easier to come to the church, stream from here. It's quiet. My husband is actually here, but he's in the next room playing ping pong with a guy from church. So that's what they're doing right now. We have ping pong tables at our church. It's fun over here. You guys should give us a visit. We have a lot of fun times. So yes, Karen is a smart cookie. Exactly. The move, we are still moving actually to our building. And it is a work in progress. Our first Sunday is this coming Sunday. So this week we will be moving the rest of the stuff over, doing another big clean of the old building and pray for that building to sell. Hopefully we're going to sell that soon. So now would be the perfect opportunity. We actually own 2 buildings right now, so we need to sell the old one. But anyways, I thought it would be a good idea for this week. I do have an outline printed off that actually it was done in June of 2018. And it was one that I believe Miss Leslie and I did together. And it was a couple years ago. So I do have that outline. It's all about homeschooling, different methods of homeschooling and things that we can jump into if we run out of topics to talk about tonight. I thought it would be a good precursor for next week's topic. But I also I should do a tour of the new building. You're right. Did my husband do one yet? I think he might have done one. I can't remember if he did one or not. Matt, if you're watching, if you can remember, did my husband do a video? And if he did, can you post that link? I think I have to make you a moderator, though. Let's make you a moderator. Okay, you're a moderator now, so you can post a link. He did one before any work. Okay. So there is a video before any of the work was done, but it looks so awesome now. I will try to remember to do a tour of the video, or a tour of the building. But I wanted to go to my Gently Led Sisters group on Facebook. And I was looking through right before I started, and I noticed there's just a lot of really good questions and things in this group. So I want all of your guys' help. I want you to talk in the chat a lot tonight. And I want you to tell me, I'm going to leave the chat up. I'm not going to trim it or anything. But I want you to tell me answers to these questions that women are asking in the Gently Led Sisters group. You know, if you have already answered it there, go ahead and leave it again. And I'll put in my input as well. Hi, Amber. Thanks, Matt. So I shared a post a couple hours ago, and I said, you guys have 2.5 hours to leave a comment or a question. And so Shara asked me, what age do babies start to understand and implement discipline? My babies begin pinching. My baby has begun pinching, and it hurts sometimes. He laughs. Okay, so I am a seasoned mom now. You know, I've raised almost 2 to adulthood now. And one thing that I really try to caution young moms against is being harsh when they're too young. You do not want to start to discipline, swat their leg. You know, you're always teaching your kids through telling them no, you know, explaining to them even from when there's time, we don't do that, you know, listen to mommy, you know, be good, don't give me that face, you know, things like that. You can do a lot of training without the actual spanking. And I've seen a lot of moms, maybe they weren't raised being disciplined. They weren't raised being spanked. And so when they get married and have kids, they have no clue where to even start. They have no clue if they're going overboard. They have no clue how to begin. So this is when, I'm glad Shara asked, because this is when as a young mom, you need to reach out to the older moms and you need to ask. You need to ask for advice when it comes to this stuff. Kelly is just now at 1.5 beginning to understand limits and boundaries and the word no. And for her, it's a light swat on the leg with a hand sometimes if she's doing something dangerous. Okay, so it's other than that, it's, you know, removing her from the whatever distracting her, you know, explaining to her, no, Kelly, we don't do that. You know, it's pretty much a light swat. It's not anything too harsh. And I've seen a lot of parents that I haven't really witnessed it with my own eyes. I've heard them say things about, you know, spanking all day. You should never spank an 18-month-old all day. You're not doing something right if you're doing that. That would be, I would feel like, you know, a lot of times, you know, kids have bad days. And I liked how Mrs. Anderson explained it in the group, in the FWBC Listeners for Women group. She was kind of explaining that. She's like, you know, you want to try to treat your children like God treats us. We all have bad days. And would we How would we appreciate it if when we had a bad day because of lack of sleep or we weren't feeling well, God just came down super hard on us and was very harsh with us? You don't want to be that way with your children. You know, kids, especially a lot, Kelly's age, they thrive on schedule. So if any little bit they get off schedule, they're going to be fussy. They're going to cry. You know, I've learned to just let things roll off my back. I've learned to not stress out when she's having a bad day. I've learned that she's just now learning no and just now learning boundaries. So I need to show her what those boundaries are, but it's way too early to begin the serious training, you know, that comes when they're 3, 4, 5 or whatever. So, I would go more on the grace side of things when they're this age. Lots of young moms are all gung ho. Okay, this is going to be the most, well-behaved child, the best child in the world. And they go overboard with the discipline. So I would definitely err more on the side of grace. Now, if he is doing something, if he's trying to hit you, you can lightly swat his hand to tell him, no, we don't hit mommy. You can find other ways to train your kids without beating them as babies. I do not ever condone even using an implement on them at this age, like a spoon or something. I feel it's too young. That's my personal opinion. Other people have different opinions, but that's through raising kids and being through it and experience. So, yeah. They do start to kind of get it at 2, definitely. At 18 months, like Kelly's just on the edge of learning, different things. So, yeah, Amber, I would agree. Around 2 or 3, they're really starting to understand what's going on. So, definitely. Any advice for how to handle really whiny toddlers? I would try to, if my kids have whined about something, cried about something in the past, I don't give it to them right away. I tell them that they have to leave the room and then come back in and ask politely for it. I don't give it to them if they're whiny. I feel like if you nip it in the bud really early and they learn that they're not going to get things if they're whiny, then that definitely helps. Not to say my kids don't ever whine, because they definitely do. And you're going to have some kids that are more whiny than others, obviously. But I have tried to just nip it in the bud by not allowing them to have something if they're whining about it or crying about it. And once again, use discretion, because, maybe your kid has just had a super long day. Maybe it's out of character for them. You know your kid better than anyone else. So definitely use discretion with that. So let's see. And then Hope Shara said it's more teaching by example, I think, since they watch and learn. Yeah, and explain things. Kelly understands more than you think she does. She's only 18 months old, but she's understanding and getting a lot of stuff. So, talk to them from the time that they're a young age. Some parents have a checklist and they think that if they just do X, Y, and Z, their kids are going to turn out super awesome. They just beat them all day. And raising kids is more than spanking. Raising kids is way more than that. It's about having their heart and, training them, teaching them, showing them, like you said, by example and things like that. So 6 million asked, what's your opinion on how to handle a kid throwing temper tantrums? My mother's pediatrician told her you should ignore them. She said that worked for me, but I'm not too sure. What's your opinion? I do something similar. When they get a little older, obviously, if they throw a fit, an all-out fit, and they're freaking out on the floor, I spank them. But yeah, I've ignored them before when they've thrown fit. In fact, my oldest son used to pass out every single day of his life. From the time he was 6 months old, he had a temper and would hold his breath and would pass out. So when he did, I would lay him on the floor. And I asked my pediatrician about this too, because I said, is this going to hurt him? And he's like, nope, lots of kids do this. They get mad, they pass out. So we would just lay him on the floor and he would pass out, and then he would wake up and he would be fine. So yes, I've definitely ignored them. But like I said, when they get a little older, I do discipline them for that, especially an all out kicking, screaming, rolling on the floor, flailing around. I will take them to another room, calm them down, you know, tell them they're not supposed to act like that, deal with it, you know, whatever. So, but hopefully the temper tantrums will quit by the time they're 4 or 5. You know, they should, by the time they're 5 or 6, they shouldn't be having temper tantrums anymore. So Ashley said, I recently heard an IFB sermon saying you need to leave bruises. It was from a verse in Proverbs. I was honestly shocked. I was spanked as a kid with no bruising. Is this a common belief? I don't hold to that belief. I think you're talking about the verse that talks about the blueness of a wound. But some of those verses you have to be careful with in Proverbs, because some of those verses it was talking about, like when it talks about a rod for, you know, some of them are talking about fools. They're actually talking about older people. So, you know, not disciplining your kids. So you have to be able to discern which verses in Proverbs are about that. Now, it might have been about how, you know, if he has blueness of the wound. And I don't even like talking about this much publicly because it is such a controversial subject. This is something that you're going to have to come down to. Each home is going to have to decide how they discipline. And I never, ever would advocate for abuse in any situation. And I do believe some parents take it too far with how they spank. So you have to be very careful about that. You know, personally, I don't condone leaving bruises. I think that's too excessive, and you're being too excessive about it. So, I don't know. Has that pastor ever raised kids? I would like to see and meet the pastor's kids who's done that, actually. So that would be my question. I have known people that have preached that, and then it's come out later that they were abusive to their kids. So I would like to meet the person that's raised non-bitter children that's spanked them that hard. I don't condone that at all. So that's my personal opinion. It does sound like they're following the pearls, except I don't even know if the pearls advocated for that, and the pearls are weird. So yeah. Okay, so 6 million said, I might not have this problem in the future if I don't have any daughters, but I worry they will dread skirts if I were to enroll them in sports and the other kids make fun of them. How would you fix that? There are so many neat things that you can buy that are athletic that you can still dress modestly. Snoga has some. I just had a church lady, she wore a really cute set today. And then Mod sportswear is personally one of my favorites, and that's the skirt with the shorts underneath it. So there are a lot of really good alternatives that you can find where they could play sports in. Now, for me personally, this has never come up with my daughters. I think because they've just been raised this way. And also they don't play secular sports. If they've played any sports, it's been Christian sports, Christian school sports, or like volleyball camp. That was all Christian churches that went to it. So they just wore, you know, culottes, which is like a split skirt. Or they wore the culottes with the capris or the long shorts underneath it. So there are a lot of different options that you can get for your daughter if she is enrolled in sports. And I think they're cute. You know, Snoga has some cute ones. Mod Sportswear has some cute ones. If you guys know of any other cute ones, leave the comments. I know there's one other one that has some really cute ones, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head. So, but yeah, let me go to, until you guys keep asking more questions, I'm going to go over here. Okay, so that was Shara's question, which, you know, with the whole discipline thing, I would be free. I would love to, if you have more questions about that, I would personally email you about that or talk to you through Messenger or something. But publicly for me, you know, there's so many haters out there that, you know, even just a swat on the leg, they're going to freak out about. So I don't like to talk too much about it publicly. Like I said, that has to come down to each household and how you decide. But I would definitely, especially, I'd never condone spanking babies. And even with older children, I would never condone abuse, kicking, hitting, throwing things. That's completely 100% never right, ever. So remember, you're the adult. You have to have self-control when it comes to things, and you have to exhibit that you can discipline in love and not in anger. So they're going to learn a lot from that. Okay, so there's Mrs. Lyons asked a bunch of RC questions, which we will answer next week. She also asked, they want to go on vacation. And so where are some places that are recommended? They have a 10-year-old girl, a 7-year-old boy, a 5-year-old girl, a 3-year-old girl, and they'll have a 1-month-old baby. So, and it was funny because I had seen this question and I was going to suggest Branson. That is such a it's great for families. And there are discounts you can get. Silver Dollar City is awesome. There's no alcohol allowed there. The music is clean. It's very family oriented. That's why we love Branson. It's very family oriented. And there's lots of stuff for your family to do. But obviously it's going to, cost some. We love going to Sights and Sounds. That is an amazing place. That's like the one big thing we did. We did pay a couple $100s for it. But it's amazing. It's a live production, musical. And then they even give the gospel at the end. And I was surprised. It was pretty right on. The gospel was. So I really like Sights and Sounds Theater. Branson is one of our favorite places. We've gone there a few times. Gatlinburg, Tennessee is beautiful. It is very touristy, but they have beautiful mountains. If you wanted to rent a cabin, that would be a really good option. We've been there. There's always places like the Grand Canyon, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's amazing. It's just amazing there. But that's all the way in Phoenix, or past, not Phoenix, but Arizona. So I'm trying to think of some of the places we've been to. I've been to a lot of different states. My mom traveled a lot when we were growing up. So I was very fortunate to visit a lot. I've been to Mount Rushmore. Pretty much the only place I have not been in the U.S. I've not been to the West Coast. I've not been to I've been to California. I flew into California, but I've not gotten to sightsee California. But I have been to Yellowstone. Yellowstone is pretty cool. They have a lot of geysers and really cool place and animals that you can see, when you drive through the park. I have not been to the Redwoods. I would like to go see the Redwoods. But yeah, Gatlinburg is beautiful, very family friendly. Go to Ripley's Aquarium. That's a really cool place my kids loved. And then Branson. Branson's really cool. We've been there twice with the family. So that's a really, really cool place. So if you guys have any other suggestions, leave them in the chat, definitely. Okay, but let me go over here. So let me see. And then Rachel asked, we recently began playing board games with our older 2 kids. They're still young, ages 3 and 5. How can we cultivate good sportsmanship in our kids? Our oldest is super competitive like me, and I want to make sure he doesn't become a sore loser or winner. Okay, so I am super, super competitive as well. And I'm like leaving for some reason. My chat isn't keeping up. Yeah, that's weird. My chat is not keeping up with this. Okay. I'll just look at my phone. I am also very, very competitive. And I would just say, teach them that it's good to win, but you don't ever want to be so cocky and, because there's always going to be winners. There's always going to be losers. And someday you will lose. And you don't want the other people to be, horrible to you. So you need to show grace when you win as well. And I always think, I've always encouraged sports and competitive things because I really believe that it brings out someone's true character. And I have seen a lot of things before where someone's true character was exhibited on and off of the, field, that they were on and off the basketball court, on and off of the whatever sport that they were playing. I have I have found that their true character comes out. So I do believe that sports and competition, it will kind of show what's inside. As far as being a bad loser, I was never impressed with the kids that I saw that were bad losers. And I would always point them out to mine and be like, don't ever act like that. If you ever acted like that in front of this huge crowd of people, I would be so embarrassed. I would do something about it if I saw you acting like that. So don't ever act like that in front of people. Or, just ever for that matter. So I would tell them that. I would point out things. I've always pointed out things to my kids, things that I see people doing that are good, and then things that I see that people are doing are bad. You say that's judgmental. No, we're always judging situations. And as parents, it's our job to tell our kids how to judge situations correctly, how, to not judge, how to judge a situation if it's a good thing, or judge a situation if it's bad. That's our job as parents, to kind of point that out and show our kids, because kids need to learn to judge righteous judgment, because the Bible does talk about judging righteous judgment. So you need to teach your kids to look at these things and, do you want to have this character trait? Then you need to act this way. Do you not want to have this character trait? Then don't act this way, and show them different things. We've pointed out people stumbling around drunk to our kids before, telling them that's what happens when you drink. You're going to do stupid things. I've shown my kids articles before about drunk drivers killing other people in car accidents. And I want them to know that when you make decisions like that, it's going to affect your whole life probably, and you have the potential to damage someone for life or kill someone, and that will always affect you. So, okay, so then let me go to Celine asked, should Christians do yoga? My mom wants me to do that because I like to move a lot, and she gets annoyed by that, but I heard it's like a Hindu practice, and is it good for believers to do that? There are a lot of different thoughts about that. I personally, I don't know. I've kind of been, when I've turned on different like yoga type things to kind of watch, I don't like the feeling I get from it. And maybe you shouldn't always go off feelings, but they have a lot of like mystical music, and I don't know. That's something that you have to discern yourself. I personally probably wouldn't do yoga, just because it does have connections to like the spirit world and things like that. So for me, I kind of want to avoid stuff like that. But if you can do exercises without getting involved in all the spirit and mental part of it, then that's probably fine. Now, someone that's come from maybe a Wiccan background, or something that they dabbled in witchcraft in the background, they might have a hard no against that. No, I'm not going to do yoga. I'm not going to do Pilates. I'm not going to do meditating. I'm not going to do anything that could potentially be tied to that, because it is a stumbling block for them. So, people like me that have never been in that, it might not be a stumbling block. I just personally don't want to be involved in anything occultic or mystical, or that has ties to that. That's just me personally. Some people might be fine, and but that's just something you're going to have to determine. You're going to have to decide. So yeah, Morgan, I thought Pilates was more like just the stretching and things like that, without the mystical stuff going on. I was thinking Pilates was more like that. So, but okay, so let me go back to Gently Led Sisters. Yeah, avoid all appearances of evil. And you could use that as far as like going even to, yoga classes. That would be, if you're doing it in your own home, I don't think you're avoiding appearances of evil, maybe to your kids. But, as far as like going and in public and doing it, I don't know. I have mixed emotions about that. So let me go down here. Okay, so someone asked, this is a question I want you guys to answer if you can, okay? May I ask how you go about giving your children their allowance or pocket money, and at what age did you start? Do you give them a monetary reward for doing extra chores at home? My children are still young to do any chores, but it's something I've always thought about and would love to hear your opinions. And I haven't really read most of these comments, but let me see. Okay, so some of the women are saying, yes, we have them do different chores. Someone recommended reward charts with stickers and a small prize. Someone said we don't do it for chores around the house at all, but for grades, since school is their job, so they do it for grades. And then someone said my kids have chores that they have to do because they're part of the household. And they don't get an allowance, however, they do have the option of doing extra chores to make money. Okay, so if you guys have any suggestions, leave them down below. We actually just started, or with my younger kids, well, Abby gets paid for helping with Kelly during when I teach piano lessons. So we do have that. That's kind of like an allowance for her. And then my younger, let's see, Chloe and Allie and Lana, they actually came up with chores, extra chores, besides, you know, just helping around the house and stuff. They actually came up with extra chores and different amounts for like 50 cents, 75 cents. And I'm fine with that because, you know what, honestly, the house has stayed cleaner when there's a little bit of incentive. And if I can afford $5 a kid per week, and then they have a little bit of extra spending money, then they feel like they're contributing, you know, which they're going to feel like they're contributing even if you have them do regular chores without money. But I just feel like that just sweetens the pot a little bit. It's a little bit of incentive, you know, plus it gives them a little bit of money to spend. And if you wanted to take it a step further, you could even start implementing budgeting and showing them, okay, so now you got $5, you take 50 cents, you put it in the offering, you know, at the next service. And then how about you save? Let's save $1 of it, you know, start saving up your money. And then you can have this much for fun money, you know, start showing them how they can budget. Start that at a young age. And that will really, really help. When my son Tommy started at Walmart Distribution Center this year, he is living at home with barely any bills. You know, he's got his phone bill, his car bill, and his insurance bill. That's it. And so my husband sat him down and did a budget with him on the computer, showed him, you know, obviously 10% comes out. You give that to tithe after every paycheck. And then, you know, here's your car payment, here's your insurance payment. And then he started having him do a house payment every month just to get him into the habit of doing that. So now Tommy has quite a bit of money saved because he's been saving the majority of his money. He has a little bit of money for fun money, but he is, you know, doing that. And my husband was never really taught that. And we went through a lot of hard times when we first got married because of it. He was not taught how to budget. He was not taught, you know, he was always taught to tithe. That was never a question. We would tithe right away. And I believe God has blessed us because of that. But we did go through a lot of struggles because we didn't have a budget early on. Now, after we got ourselves about $5,000 in debt on the credit card, we had a car payment, all that stuff. My husband started listening to Dave Ramsey and got on his program, and we paid off our debt and we paid off our car. And then when we moved here to start the church, we were completely debt free. Well, then my husband was without a job for a few months. He was applying everywhere. No one was hiring. And we did get into debt then. But for the majority of this year, we've managed to stay out of debt as far as the credit card. Now we still have a car payment and a house payment, but you want to learn to live within your means. And that's something that you definitely could start when your kids are younger, and an allowance will help that. You know, get that in their minds from the time they're young. So I think it's actually kind of a good thing. You know, and then you can teach them how to handle money from the time they're young. So, and then Rachel said, we have a goal chart for each day. Once they complete all of their goals, they get to choose an extracurricular activity. Mine are still too young for money as an incentive. Yeah, mine are older, so money is a huge incentive. Basically, the only one that doesn't care about money right now is Kelly. So that's nice, Shara. Yeah. I still remember some of my favorite purchases that I've had even as an adult were purchases that I saved the money for like weeks and months. And when you actually go and you have the cash in hand and you buy that purchase, you buy that item, it's really cool. It's a good feeling. So yeah, I'm going to spit out my gum. Sorry. I'm in my 3rd trimester now, and I'm so out of breath all the time. So sorry. I know I've mentioned it before, but sorry if I'm annoying you by breathing hard. I'm just sitting here and I'm having a hard time breathing. So we might actually, Celine, I might be doing a topic next month close to the time. I might actually be doing I just had someone message me. I might actually be doing a show on Halloween again and, you know, the occult and things like that. So look for that next week. Okay, so then let me go back to gentlyled Sisters. I don't think I'm going to get to the homeschool outline, which is fine. I think Karen can pretty much cover it next week. Okay, you guys are not leaving super a lot of comments, so I need help with this one because this is my downfall. Okay, so Jenny said, I'm trying to do some freezer meals for when the baby arrives. I'm 19 weeks. Wow, you go, girl. I'm like going on 29 and I have nothing done. When do you guys start prepping freezer meals for baby's arrival? What are your favorite make ahead and freeze type of meals? This is number 4. And with my sleep problems, cooking dinner is always hard. I feel ya. I have been having sleep problems too. I know how that is. Okay, so here's some of the suggestions. Shepherd's pie will go over well in our house. Okay, for me personally, I can't do shepherd's pie. My husband won't eat that. I've heard a lot of men like that, but mine won't. I've never made that. I just know he wouldn't touch it. Janae said, I just did my freezer meals last week at 35 weeks. Oh, I didn't even know that, Janae. Good job. She's from our church. I had a friend come over and knock them all out in one day. It was fun getting to hang out with a friend while getting work done. Oh, good for you. That sounds fun. And then Danielle said I would start somewhere between 30 and 35 weeks. Some easy things I've made and frozen are crock pot pulled barbecue chicken, pork, taco meat, sloppy joe meat, soups, and pasta sauce. And then Kayla said I started making freezer meals around 35 weeks. Some that went over really well were chicken pot pies, burritos, enchiladas, chili, and chicken noodle soup. Those all sound really good. She froze them in bags and laid them flat. Good luck and congratulations. And then Jolene said white chicken chili and creamy chicken enchiladas freeze. Yes, I was going to say chicken enchiladas. I've made those a lot and frozen them. They do really well. Actually, any type of enchilada, any type of lasagna. I've done Mexican lasagna is my favorite dish in the whole world. My mom has a killer recipe. It's so good. I've done that before. And then regular lasagna, chicken enchiladas, even mastacholi, that freezes really, really well. I've done that before. And then Sarah said I started at, wow, she did a lot. Good job, Sarah. She's from our church too. I started at 35, 36 weeks. Next time I plan to start by 30 weeks. That would be like me in week. That's crazy. It was too much to do so close to birth. And she had 2 chicken bakes, a veggie mac. I don't know what that is. Breakfast casserole. That sounds good. Cheesy beef spirals, egg roll in a bowl. Enchilada biscuit bake, biscuits and gravy casserole. That sounds intriguing. You'll have to give me that recipe. My husband might like that one. Chicken enchilada casserole, barbecue chicken sandwiches, sloppy joe stuffed peppers, shepherd's pie, and burrito bowls. Good job, man. She did a lot. You can tell she didn't have any other kids. She just had number 1. So that's crazy. But and then Rachel said I did freezer meals with my first and the last month of my pregnancy. I did not do freezer meals with my other 2 pregnancies. I was fortunate to have meal trains. Yeah, I've been really bad about meals. And then Joy said, do your husbands help enough with cooking when you're postpartum? No, 0 cooking on my husband's end. when I was at Lighthouse, they did meals for the first, it was like every other day for the first 2 weeks, and that helped a lot. He would just go and buy all frozen food, and that's what we would eat. I think I did do some freezer meals when my kids were younger, but now that I have older kids, Abby and Chloe both cook. So my last 2 babies, let's see. Well, Lana, okay, Kelly, Abby did everything. It was amazing. And she was just getting to the age where she was like really excelling at cooking. And so she made amazing food. And it's funny because we had just gotten Mrs. Anderson's cookbook not too long before that. So a lot of the food was out of there, and I still have fond memories because, you know, when you're postpartum, you're so hungry and everything tastes so good. And so I had like chicken pot pie was one of my favorites. I went through this period where there's this like shrimp and pasta, and I can't remember what it is, but it's like some shrimp recipe in there that you do with pasta and chicken, I think. And it was so good. I would ask for it like every few days. And Abby's like, Mom, seriously, aren't you sick of this yet? And I haven't eaten it for a while just because I ate it so much when I was postpartum, but there were so many good recipes out of that book. Yeah, exactly, Morgan. That's what mine does. He helps by stopping at McDonald's. And then Marissa said, the sooner you're prepped, the less of a belly you have to work around. Lasagna rolls. What is that? That sounds good. Beef stew, dump bags, lots of burritos. Now for me, I have to be careful because a lot of the recipes have lots of cheese in it. And if you know my husband, you know he hates cheese. So, yeah, no casseroles, like no lasagna. For me personally and some of the kids, we would love it. Like we like sour cream chicken enchiladas. My husband will not touch it with a 10-foot pole. So he would like the stuff though, like the chilies, the beef stews, anything he would like the burritos as long as they had like rice and beef and potatoes, you know, and then we could do the cheese ones just for us, but he would like that type of stuff. So Amber said, John fed me a year-old corn dog on accident after Ava was born. And he was like, how did you even eat that? I was just so hungry. I didn't notice it tasted weird. That's hilarious. Oh, a year-old corn dog. That's funny. This last one, I can't remember if I don't think I freezer prepped at all, but it was because I have older kids. I know I have in the past with some of them, but I don't know. My family's the type too. I've never bought a ton of frozen food. Almost everything is from scratch. So they're the type that would prefer, obviously, I'm not saying they're super picky or anything, but I prefer actually it just freshly made. But I think I did it when they were younger, but now that I have older kids, it's not as big of a deal. So, but yeah, if you have any other suggestions, leave them in there. And then, okay, Sarah Ventura left a comment or a post about Karen's new course is called Sustainable Homeschooling 101. And that is the beta course that she's doing right now. So she was offering a discount for a while. I don't think she still is, but it is going to be $150, but you get a lot with that. It's a lot of videos. It's a lot of tutorials. And she was offering it for $99. So I don't think it's still $99. I'll ask her about that. Okay, so here's another one. This is a good question. Yesterday, we found out we're expecting baby number 5 and are over the moon thrilled. I'm reaching out to see when you announced your pregnancy to people. I don't want to lose this happiness with the thoughts of hearing negative comments. I'm not even sure I will hear negative stuff. I'm just worried because people have made comments like, 4, huh? So you're done, right? Or you need to stop now. Or how about the comment? Do you know what causes that? It's like, yeah, I do. Or you should just say, no, can you explain it to me? So I wanted advice or encouragement in this. and also advice with just juggling lots of kids, work, all the homeschool responsibility activities, housework, shopping, cooking, you get it, but without losing joy and getting aggravated with the kids. And her kids are 11, 4, 2, and 1, and they're expecting again. That's a lot of littles. Yes, it is. So, hey, Nicole. Notice I said, hey, Nicole, as soon as I saw you this week. So tell me how you guys announce it. And do you wait? Do you guys wait to announce your pregnancies? Do you care about the naysayers? Does that affect how long you take to wait? Now, with Kelly, we did wait until I was 12 weeks along because I had had a miscarriage before her. And we had announced that one early. We had announced that one at 6 or 7 weeks. I ended up miscarrying. And, that was really traumatic and all that. So I waited with her until we had the ultrasound, and I actually saw the heartbeat, and then we had the due date. So I did wait with her. I don't know, just because at that time, just being already through a traumatic loss, I didn't want to have to, if I went through it again, tell people again. So we did wait with her. With this baby, I had an ultrasound at 9 weeks, and we saw the heartbeat and everything. Everything looked great. So we went ahead and announced it. I personally don't see anything wrong with announcing a baby at 6 weeks along, because you know what? A soul is a soul, no matter how young, no matter how little. And that's a human being. And I believe every baby should be celebrated and every baby is special. And that's why we do showers for every baby at Liberty Baptist Church, because every baby is special and deserves to be celebrated. So that being said, it just comes down to what you're comfortable with. Are you going to be okay with something if something does go wrong? Then you have to tell people, explain what happened, explain to your kids what happened. I know with Kelly, we did wait too because the kids took it so hard. And I didn't want to get them all excited again and then have another loss. So that is why one of the other reasons we waited with her. But, we didn't wait as long with this baby. So far, everything's fine. So, that's just something that you're going to have to decide. But I do believe every baby should be celebrated and made a big deal over. And, I just ignore rude comments. I don't get that many. If they say them, it's not to my face. So, it doesn't bother me. And then Amber said, I announced right away, but the first people I tell are the ones I know will be happy for us and not say something bad. And then Nicole said, I wait till after 12 weeks in case of miscarriage, but I just tell people and don't make a big deal. And then Victor said, going back to yoga, this is Anna, not Victor. Hi, Anna. I definitely think it depends on who's teaching, because I've done a yoga class that was just the exercises and reading Psalms. Maybe I have a Christian yoga class where it's just scripture. And then Rachel said, we wait until 12 weeks, except for close family and friends. I am bothered by people's comments. People can be so rude. I had comments with baby number 3. And Nicole said, my family makes comments every now and again, like how many more? And I ignore them. Yeah. My family, sometimes they'll ask, I don't know, maybe it helps because when my husband and I got married, we said from the time that we got married, we wanted 10 kids, and we're still not there. We're only on number 8. So, we said that from day one, we're like, we want 10 kids. So my family kind of has like in their head that we want 10 kids. So maybe that's why I don't really get many comments. I did have one family member when we announced with this baby, they said, wow. Oh, wow. That was their response. And that was it, which I just laughed. I thought it was hilarious. It didn't bother me at all. But we've had, let's see, we don't really get that many comments. The majority of the comments are like, wow, better you than me, which I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I'll take them if that's your attitude. Yeah, better me than you, I guess. And then how do you afford that? Your husband must be rich. You must make a lot of money. And I think they would be shocked at how little we live on, but we try to keep our expenses very low. I was actually talking to a single guy today that comes to our church, and he pays just for his apartment almost double what we pay for our house on 3 acres. So, we've tried to keep our costs low. We don't live in a mansion. We live in just a plain little house, but out in the country on 3 acres. So we try to keep, shop at Aldi's, shop consignment stores, shop thrift stores, different things like that. There's always ways that you can cut corners and find ways to save money and, things like that. So you can always find ways. And then when they get older and they get a job and they start actually producing something that goes towards the family unit, then, they can take care of a lot of their expenses. So whereas I still buy a lot of food, my 2 boys, since they have jobs and they work, they're buying a lot of their stuff now. So, and they cover their part of insurance, different things like that. So, and then Anna said, I took 2 yoga classes in college that were pretty strictly the movements, but there were a couple on the Beachbody website that I avoid because they do get into some weird stuff. Yeah, I would definitely just use discretion. I'm not necessarily going to like declare it all a sin because I don't, yeah. And that's what, Marissa said too. Yoga is a Hindu word, which means yoke or union. It's intended for the practitioner to be yoked to the gods and their energies. So definitely use caution, and that has to be a personal conviction that you guys all have. I haven't looked into much of Pilates. I know in the past with some pregnancies, I've done some like pregnancy Pilates, and I didn't really get a lot of the weird vibes from that I've seen with some of the yoga stuff. But I mean, just go on YouTube, type in yoga, start playing some of the videos and see what comes up and see how it makes you feel. Okay. We have something inside of us called the Holy Spirit. And if there is something going on that conflicts with that, we're going to be able to tell. It's called being led by the Spirit. And so I don't want to have like this list of, yes, this is bad. No, this isn't bad. Yeah. Yes, yoga is bad. No, Pilates isn't bad. You have to be able to discern that yourself. So I would just pray about it, play some YouTube videos and see how, pray about it as you're watching it. Okay. How does this make me feel? Does this make me feel uncomfortable? Is there something going on that, the spirit in me is not identifying with the spirit of the video, so it's called being led by the Spirit. So there's not a lot of, even though I can give advice and I can give my opinion, being a Christian and growing closer to Christ is definitely, after salvation, when you're growing in Christ. I'm talking about being a Christian, acting out being a Christian, trying to do Christ's commands. That is a personal thing that you are going to have to work on, and you're going to have to strive. Don't expect someone to just give you a list of rules or a list of do's or don'ts. You need to read your Bible, you need to pray, and you need to listen to the voice of the Spirit. The Holy Spirit's He's there to help you. He's there to help you grow. And He's going to speak in that still small voice and tell you, something's not right with this. Or tell you, this is fine. This is okay. This is not a stumbling block to you. You're not going to be a stumbling block to a baby Christian. Different things like that. When I was a teenager, my mom, we were doing some field trip. I don't know, some homeschool field trip. My mom took our family to this like Indian mound. It was like all these Indian mounds, where Indians were buried and stuff. And we were going through this museum and it was creepy. There was like creepy, chanty music playing, and I did not like it. And when we got out, my mom was like, yeah, there was something demonic going on in that place. And it was just very, it was like chanting to invoke dead spirits and things going on through the whole museum. And, just stuff like that, you can tell the Holy Spirit's telling you, okay, something's not right here, cautioning you, pay attention to that and follow the leading of the Holy Spirit. The Christian life is more than a list of do's and don'ts. The Christian life is following the leading of the Holy Spirit, growing, getting into God's word, so that's all I'm going to say about that. But all right, we're almost out of time. See, I knew I would find a lot in the Gently Led Sisters group. Let's do one more. Okay. Okay. So this is a sleep question. And, where I used to think I was like the expert on sleep training, I had Kelly, and I'm no longer the expert. So, God always keeps us humble, doesn't he? Charity said, I was hoping you ladies could help me out with something. My son is almost 2, and he's been waking up just about every night, at least once a night crying. So normally we just bring him in our room, and he'll fall back asleep in our bed. But I get tired of having him in the middle, and I like to have space. My husband also likes to have his own space. My question is, what would you suggest doing? I have made him go back to his own bed, but a lot of times that results in him waking up my husband, who has to work until 2 a.m. and sleep really late. So a lot of people suggested stuff for teething. They suggested oils like teething oil. And yes, I would suggest that as well. Actually, my friend Julia showed me a clove teething oil, and it really helped Kelly's gums when she had her eye teeth coming in. Those were probably, that was the roughest transition for teeth, when those 4 teeth were coming in all at once. And so I would go in when she'd wake up crying, rub some clove oil on her gums that were swollen, and it would really help her. And she didn't seem to mind the taste or anything. And then Julia on this post actually recommended you could try a floor bed, so you can lay with him until he falls asleep, then ninja roll away to your own bed. There's a lot of people that do the crib sidecar to your bed. I'm the same way, Charity. My husband and I really like our own space at night. It's the only time we're alone. So our room is kind of like sacred when it comes to that. And where I did co-sleep with Kelly till about 9 or 10 months, after that, we had both had enough of it. And so I ended up transitioning her to her own crib, and it's gone much better. She sleeps better. We sleep better. That's like an important part of our marriage, just having that alone time. So once again, you have to determine what your priorities are. That's a high priority for us. For some people, co-sleeping is a high priority, and they would rather do that than have that, private alone time or their own space. So, just decide what your priority is there. See, someone left a comment. I slept with all my kids up until 3 or 4. They all slept more peaceful, as I did, and I did as well. My husband worked early in mornings, and I would sleep with my kids, where all they have in this world is comfort. Just be the mama. So to her, that was really important, to be co-sleeping. So, every family is going to be different. But my recommendation was, at first I didn't offer any advice because I feel like I'm a total failure now when it comes to sleep training, because Kelly just threw me for a loop. And I did tell her, though, if you keep bringing him in your bed, he's going to expect that. And that's what I learned with Kelly. She really learned that if she cried and I brought her to bed, then that's what she wanted to do all the time. So I told her to try rocking him in his room. This is what I've been doing with Kelly that's been working. She still wakes up sometimes in the middle of the night crying. So I go in there. A lot of times I think she's just cold. I cover her up with her blankie. I pat her back and I tell her, okay, it's time to go to sleep now. It's time to go to sleep. And I just pat her for like a minute, and then she goes back to sleep on her own. That's been working with her. She's been doing a lot better with just falling back to sleep. And now she might wake up once a night, and that's it. Right around 2 or 3 in the morning is usually when she does. It's kind of like her sleep pattern has been broken. But that's what I would recommend. But are there any recommendations for sleep? Logan said, when my daughters do that, I take them to get a sip of milk, then show them out the window it's still night, then tell the milk cup night-night. Then tell the milk cup night-night. Got it. And then Nicole recommended, and you know what? Mrs. Anderson had recommended me with this for Kelly, and I never got around to doing it, but chamomile tea or sleepy herbs before bed. And that is a good idea. I really should try that. She gets warm milk still. She's on a bottle still, which she loves. And that helps get her to sleep. But I had heard chamomile will really help calm down restless kids. So, and it's perfectly safe for most people. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone having a reaction to chamomile tea. So Amber said, our 2-year-old does this on occasion. Giving him a drink and not staying with him too long, then shutting their door after helps him go back to sleep. It's kind of something that they have to figure out. We all have sleep patterns and they're all disrupted at times, but we just naturally fall back to sleep. And with little kids, if they're used to, being held, being loved on, things like that. Obviously, there's going to be legitimate times when maybe they're having a nightmare or they're in pain, they have a headache or a toothache. They're going to need extra comforting. But I feel like, with Kelly, I've been really trying to just pat her, tell her it's time to go back to sleep. Kind of like what Logan said, it's still nighttime. It's time to go back to sleep. And she's been doing better with that. So now she only wakes up one time, maybe one time a night. So, and then Sarah said, my daughter did this at 3 when her molars were cutting through. And then let's see. She bribes them. If they sleep in bed the whole night and don't wake me up in the morning, they get a little treat before breakfast. That's cute. Then they have their mattresses on the floor just because the baby's rolling off. A lot of parents are going to the mattresses just on the floor. It's just easier. Kids aren't always falling off the bed then. I've never done that. I've thought about it. Mainly just because for our wedding present, my mom bought us a big fancy frame for our bed. So we've always just had that. So I've never done the mattress on the floor thing, but a lot of people do. And I always have a fan going. For mine. That's just something I'm probably crippling them. But I need a fan to sleep and my kids always have a fan to sleep. And then someone left a teething oil. It's called Pumpkin Butt. Natural pain relief to calm and soothe your child. And it's teething oil for sore gum relief, and it's off Amazon for $15.99. It's all natural, organic, safe for infants, and chemical free. So that is definitely something that you can look into. So, okay, so let me make sure. Taylor just did. She said, do you go soul winning when it's really hot out? What about if you're pregnant or have small children? I personally do not at this point in my life go out very much. I will go out for the big events, but on a week-to-week basis, being 7 months pregnant and just going through summer and then having Kelly. At this season of my life, I do not get a chance to go out much. Now, I do know some women that do it. They figure out a plan and they go, and you're amazing, and I'm sure you're going to have tons of rewards for it. I don't know if it's because I'm older. I feel like when I was younger, I could have handled it better. As I get older, obviously pregnancy gets harder on me. And, being 7 months pregnant, taking care of a 1.5-year-old and everything that comes with a high maintenance child, it is super hard for me. So I've just come to realize that there is going to be seasons in my life where I need to focus on different things. Right now, when I am pregnant and I have a very small child, and then you've got Lana who's 6, she's not usually a problem, but my focus is on them. When my kids get a little bit older, I'm going to be able to go out more. So, and I will just try to enjoy whatever season I'm in and not feel guilty about it because we all do what we can. And, the Bible says he will gently lead those with young. So the Lord understands. I go when I can. I go when all the moon and stars and sun aligns, right? Sometimes for the big events, I'll go with my husband, and that will help. Most of the time he goes with the guys. So I'm not able to have that option. But a lot of times when we have the bigger events, I will go with him, and then we can both kind of corral the kids. So, if that's an option, sometimes I will. But as far as when it's super hot and if I'm pregnant with small children, it's not very often in this season of my life. I'm just going to be honest with you. So like I said, if you can, That's great. And I really admire you and respect you a lot for that, because that's tough. But at this point, and maybe it would help too if I could just go with my husband every time. But with him being the pastor, he's kind of driving the van with the guys, and, so it just doesn't happen that often. All right, so let me make sure no one else left any comments. Oh, someone did right here, actually. Oh, I didn't even get to these. So, and then Julia said, I didn't know how to do soul winning before we had Zeke, so I'm focusing on getting the kids older before attempting it too much. So when I do, I can really focus on learning it and doing it well. Luckily, I did know soul winning before I had lots of little kids, which was good. But yeah, you know what? Even if you just want to go out as a silent partner, and which is what I do mainly with my husband when I have the kids, you're still allowing, well, for every silent partner, that's more people going out. So don't ever feel guilty for being a silent partner. A lot of times, sometimes when I've gone with him, I've had to go back early to the van because maybe the baby was screaming or she was just over it, so there's no shame in that either. So, and then Taylor said, my 3-year-old begs me to hold her. So at that point, it's time to quit. Just right when I was saying, you could always go out for a little bit. And then when they've reached their limit, they're done. Don't feel guilty for having to cut it off. So I'm just about out of time. I'm sorry I didn't get to all the questions. I forgot totally about my main page. I was mainly focused on the gentlyled sisters group, the private group, which that private group is growing by the day. We have almost 400 women. So if you haven't joined that, it's on Facebook. You just have to answer a couple questions and we'll approve you. We just are trying to keep most of the haters and the trolls out. So if they're going to get in, they're going to have to lie about it. So, that's on their head if they're going to lie about it. But, just answer a few questions and you'll be approved to that. But we talk about a lot of different topics in there. It's a really good group. And so someone asked all things nursing, baby gets a tummy ache around 5 p.m. and wants to be held and nursed the rest of the night. I would have to know how old the baby is because a lot of little babies just have colic at night, and your milk supply is lower at night. And so that's a good thing if they want to nurse a lot. So I say I've always been for nurse as much as you can whenever the baby wants, especially the first 6 weeks. It's so important to establish a good milk supply. So there are some times when my baby is going through growth spurt, I'm pretty much tied to the chair and that's all I do is nurse. But that's really, really good for your milk supply. And most of the time that's in the evening too. Yep. And then KJV Disciple said, remember to subscribe and like the video. Definitely. We're so close to 2,000. We were up to 1981 the other day. That's the year I was born. 1981. So I'm like, come on, we have 19 more we need to get. And then I'll do a giveaway for something. We'll have a celebration once we hit that. So, oh, and then there's a loaded question right here. I'll try to respond to you, Alexandra, but we are pretty much out of time. So see, questions. I guess I never run out of things to talk about. I guess that's a good thing. And my chat is not keeping up. So anyways, oh, there we go. And then Anna said, we did a couple soul winning dates with Austin and Janae before they moved to your state. My mom watched our kids. Oh, that's fun. It's always fun to have people to go with, isn't it? So that must have been before when Gabe was super small, and when they're super, super tiny, you can actually go out just by carrying them, wearing them because they really, really like being worn when they're little. When they're little, it's not a big deal. Obviously it is if it's summer, you can't really wear them when it's 105 degrees out. But anyways, ladies, I think that's it. Sorry that you had to hear me ramble and we had to miss Karen, but pray for her to get better. She is recovering. She had to travel to Mexico. Her grandfather was dying, but she was able to see him and give him the gospel before he went. So that's really good. She was able to see a lot of her extended family, but traveling, how that is, she did get a virus. No, it was not COVID. She did get a virus, and so she's been down for the majority of this week. So hopefully by next week she will be back to normal and she will be up to par. Next week is going to be really exciting. It's going to be a really, really great show. So make sure you don't miss it. And we have a lot of really cool giveaways. Now, if you did not see how to do the giveaway, barely anyone's left a comment. Barely anyone's done it. So I'm thinking, why aren't you ladies jumping on the bandwagon with this? It's a giveaway. You have this chance to win this giveaway, these really awesome prizes. Go find my post on Gently Led Sisters. It's the main page, not the group, not the private group. I shared it to the private group. It's on my main page, Gently Led Sisters on Facebook. It's public. Everything's public on there. And it's the post that I talked about having to postpone it to next week. You have to, all you do is you make a post sharing this channel link, okay? Sharing the Gently Led Sisters channel link, and then go back on my original post about it and comment that you shared it. And I want, when you share the comment, when you share the channel, I want you to say, you know, check out this channel for homemaking, homeschooling, being a good Christian wife, mother, whatever. You know, do a little plug for the channel. Say, go check it out, subscribe, like it, you know, whatever. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. Been stuck here forever. So do that. And then go back on my original post. I've only had like 3, I think, that have done it. So you guys got to jump on this bandwagon to win this get entered into this giveaway. Once you share my channel link and, you know, you plug it, and then you go back to the original post and say, I did it. I shared it. That's all you have to do to be entered. So right now there's 3 entered and there are 3 prizes. So the odds are looking very good in their favor. So if you guys want a good odd, go do it. There's only 3 right now. So I want to get that number built up quite a bit. I don't know why maybe more ladies. I think a lot of ladies missed that post. So main page, Gently Led Sisters group, Gently Led Sisters on Facebook. Go share this channel link. You could even share a video, you know, just share something with this channel link in it or a video. Say, go check this out, go subscribe, whatever. And then you'll be entered into the giveaway after you comment that you did it. Okay. All right. So definitely, yes, Nicole, you're going to want to win that scholarship for RC course for littles because you do have littles doing it. And we are having a question and answer. So you guys tune in next week. At the end, we're going to be doing question and answer. And I know there are some of you that do Robinson curriculum. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. It's a really great curriculum, but we're mainly going to be talking about mindset when it comes to homeschooling and how it affects everything that you do. Okay, so thank you, Shara. Okay, so go do that, okay? Hope, or Shara, I always call you Hope because that's your name on here. You will, it's a video course, okay, which has a lot of knowledge in it. So anyone from anywhere in the world can win it, okay? So this, no shipping. So you're going to want to enter. And then it's an Amazon gift card. I can do that electronically. Okay, so everything's electronic that you're going to be winning. So anyone from anywhere in the world can win it. As long as you have an email address, you can win it. Okay, so let's get that done. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and we will see you next week. It's going to be very exciting. So I will see you guys next week. Have a great week, and see you later.